Hello, this is a video that I made, or that I'm making, mostly for myself, just to have, but probably might share it with a few people as well. Just wanted to document and go over my newest car purchase here, the 1998 Contour SVT. Figured I'd show it around and take a look at it. So get it unlocked here. So as you can see, this one, not terrible shape. I mean, if you look in here, you'll see the car has just over 200,000 miles. And you know, the leather, got some cracking on it, but you know, seats aren't destroyed by any means. Pretty clean inside. Does have some trash from I've been working on it, and certain things aren't put back together yet, but overall fairly clean. Take a look at the back here. See, we've got some paperwork, just some other stuff for me working on it. I haven't figured out this third brake light piece was missing the cover there, so I got to put that on. But you know, pretty decent shape. Headliner is like perfect. The only thing that is a little bit messy is the sunroof shade there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna replace that. Maybe I'll figure something out at some point. But so this car is in silver. I can't remember the name of the car off the top of my head. It's, you know, something silver. Let's see here if I can get my key. Let's see, we've got our dual exhaust and the kind of, I guess, splitter or whatever you want to call it. So, open up our trunk. You can see I've got good trunk space. Got a bunch of parts back here. Fender, air intake stuff in the box, trim pieces, just a bunch of parts that are either needing to be replaced or stuff to work on the car with. As you can see, you know, we are missing this trim piece. I'm not missing it, I actually have it. It just needs to be re-glued because the original adhesive that Ford would have used is now 24 years old, so it's gone. I do have these guys. These are, you take these off to put the lift under, since this car sits like very low to the ground. And I do have them, but I'm leaving them off for right now since I've been working on the car a bunch. Body overall clean. This fender is the worst part of the entire body. As you can see, we've got a big dent right there. And then this is all rusted out down here. But as you saw in the trunk, I already have a new fender, so I'm gonna put that on, and then this car is gonna get repainted anyway, because, you know, you look up here, get some paint issues going on. So, you know, you paint the whole car, then you get that all taken care of. Anyway, same with the front bumper, you know. The front bumper is actually in pretty good shape, just needs repainted because, well, you know, people have scratched it up in the past, and you know, the sun has faded the paint. We're also missing our lower grill down here. There's supposed to be a grill down there. I don't know if you can see, but it's just like straight up radiator in there. Condenser. So that's what we're missing for that. This side's pretty clean too. Again, in the same spot. Missing the trim. I do have it, like I said, just have to get that re-glued or whatnot. You know, and you just, you know, it needs repainted. It's an old car. It's probably sat out most of its life. But overall, taken care of. I mean, I've already done some things. I put new brakes on. Back here, you can probably see that. They're brand new brakes in the back. Front ones are alright. Probably about half gone. But, you know, overall, fairly clean inside. One of the other things I fixed was, when I bought the car, it came with an aftermarket radio, and I absolutely hated it. Didn't work very well. But so I took the radio apart and found out that they had hacked up a bunch of the wiring. So I went to a junkyard, found the radio, the original radio this car would have came with, and I also got an amp, factory amp, factory amp and all the wiring. So factory radio is back in, which is awesome because I think it sounds better. And you know, this car, it's not a car I'm driving every day. It doesn't need to be able to, you know, do Bluetooth and all that crazy stuff. So let's hop in here. As you might have heard, maybe, I'm not sure if the phone picked it up, but the struts are bad on this car, which is pretty impressive because they are determined they're original, or if they aren't original, they were replaced a very long time ago because they are Ford shocks and they say SVT on them, and you cannot buy those anymore. So if they are original to the car, which I think they are, pretty impressive. They lasted 200,000 miles, and they're shot, but that will be the next thing that gets repaired on this car because overall I fixed a lot of its issues. We'll get into that here in a minute. So, you know, you got your 5-speed manual. This is a great transmission. I really like it because it's very notchy. You know, there's not, I mean, you get a little bit of play when you're in gear, but it's not, you know, it shifts very well. I mean, I suppose it would because this was the performance variant of the Contour. But if we get in here, we can start it up. You know, you got your clutch pedal in, put it in neutral. Start up here, gotta move the wheel. Start her up. Clutch out. As you might have heard, tiny bit of probably some timing chain rattle, but only for like a split second. And like I said, this car has 200,000 miles on it, so I mean, but as you can hear, it's pretty quiet, runs well. We got our sweet little radio in here, and the antenna in the back. It's a power antenna. It actually works perfectly, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, for a 90s car, it's not bad. Decent sound. Pop the hood. There you can see that ugly fender down there with its rust. It's getting replaced anyway. Let's pop the hood here and take a look. So, here we have our engine. This is the 2.5 liter Duratec V6. This is the first car that Ford's SVT, or Special Vehicles team, actually worked on. So they took a regular Contour and took its 2.5 liter V6 and just kind of spiced it up, bumped up the power a little bit. When I bought this car, it had a new battery, so that's nice. It had an aftermarket cold air intake that just stuck on the end of this right here. I was not very pleased with that. Plus, it kind of made a racket. And honestly, it was sitting right there where the engine would be warm, so I kind of just decided I wanted to go back to factory. Obviously, I didn't have it, but luckily I found a nice guy on Facebook. He sold me the factory airbox, so here we are. We got the factory intake, which is just awesome. I like having that because I'm not a big fan of the cold air intake stuff. I'd rather leave it stock. It's probably not helping this car anyway with its age and mileage. But as you can hear, it runs quiet, perfect. You know, we haven't had to do too much under here because really, mechanically, this car is in great shape. It doesn't really leak much oil. It certainly doesn't really use any oil. It does have like a small leak from the oil pan gasket, but very small. I mean, this car sat for 1.5 years before I bought it, and you know, it fired right up, and it still had, you know, probably 60% capacity in it, which is pretty awesome for having a slight oil pan gasket leak and for sitting for that amount of time. So anyway, we'll close the hood here. So anyway, nice and quiet. It's got the stock exhaust, which on this car, actually, these came from the factory with a stainless steel catback. Now that whining noise you're hearing, I believe is the fuel pump. I haven't quite determined what that is yet. I'm thinking fuel pump, and if it is, no big deal, we'll get it replaced. But This exhaust sounds pretty good. It actually has a slight crackle to it stock, you know, if you're revving it. I like the way it sounds. But anyway, you got these dual stainless steel tips, and they, you know, you can hear it. It's got a little bit of a grumble to it because it's a V6. But overall, very happy with the car. You know, I only paid $2,000 for it, and I think for that money, considering just how rare these cars are, you know, you don't see them anymore. I think I got a good deal, and really, I haven't spent a lot of money on it, and I won't need too much more money to get going. Obviously, shocks, which are, you know, $400 or $500. But I'm pretty happy with that. And obviously, here in PA, it will not pass inspection until it gets, you know, those shocks replaced. So, no big deal. We'll get that done, and then she should be ready to rock and roll. One other thing I replaced, the sunroof when I got it did not work. But I actually went to the junkyard and found a new sunroof motor. So, as you can see here, got a perfect sunroof here. Works well, goes on, even tilts. So that's pretty sweet. Close that. But anyway, that's the Contour SVT here. It will play. And actually, the CD player works great too, which is awesome. So at least you got some entertainment to listen to while you're driving. And the speakers aren't too bad. Like I said, they're, you know, it's not the best, but not terrible either. Good heat. Believe the air conditioning actually worked. It might need recharged because if you noticed under the hood there were some caps missing for the AC lines. Get in here and close my door. If you notice, there were some caps missing for the AC lines. But it does seem like the compressor tries to engage, so it probably would work once it gets recharged. But the heat works great. Nice warm heat. Obviously, you can't feel it, but it does work. Works well. And I did replace these because these were all scratched up, these climate controls. But I'm happy with how the car's turning out so far. But, you know, we can put it in gear. See here. See, we're moving. Put it in reverse. You know, runs well, goes into gear. It had a brand new clutch installed actually before I purchased it, which is sweet. So I don't have to worry about that. Cruise control works and everything. I just got new wiper blades put on, so those work good now. So that's cool. And I don't know if you noticed, it has new headlights as well, which is pretty awesome. That was all installed by the previous owner. And I installed new taillights because these ones were cracked a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we don't have any lights on really. It did have a light earlier for it was EGR, something with EGR, but I got that clear. Well, it cleared itself because I had the battery disconnected when I was working on the radio and the amp and stuff. So that will probably come back, but that's not a big deal. I think there's just a vacuum line under the hood that's missing, so I'll get that replaced. And because it took forever for that light to even come on. But other than that, runs and drives great. Pretty decent on gas too, surprisingly, for a V6. It actually does pretty well. I would say it even does a little bit better than the Fusion over here. But so anyway, that's my Contour. Hello, my mirror. But yeah, that's my Contour SVT. Pretty sweet car. Want to make it as nice as I can and have a fun little car to drive around on the weekends and whatnot, because it does handle very well. This car actually does have rear wheel, well, it's passive rear wheel steering, but it will, you know, you're going into a turn, it will actually kind of, you know, turn those rear wheels the opposite direction to help you corner better, which is a pretty sweet feature, especially on a car like this. So anyway, but that's my Contour SVT. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and have a great rest of your day. See ya.